The king is dead, again, but this time the death of a monarch puts the kingdom of Vorvale into turmoil like never before. The good king had no official heir, only a few bastard children scattered across the land. That is you. You decide to have a little bet. The royal bastard who creates and runs the best inn, thus providing their skills as a builder and leader, shall be the one who lays claim to the throne. And so here you are. Now get building. The fate of the kingdom of Vorvale lies on your backs. Hi there guys, welcome to this review of Crossroads Inn. This is a 2 to 4 player game, plays in around about 90 minutes, maybe a little bit more for your first couple of playthroughs. It is from Claybeta Games and Serious Game Studios and goes to Kickstarter at the end of October. Now some of you may recognise the board art and the name itself. That's because it is from a video game as well. Now this is the board game version, but rather than just being a standard port to board type game, there's a really genuinely brilliant gaming experience to be had. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick look to see how the game plays, then I'll come back and give you my review. Okay, so here we've got the Inn Prestige track. So at the end of the game, the player who's got the highest score here wins. Now there's an investment track here, that's for specific tiles. So there's a silver track here and a gold track here. That will be for our different types of investment tiles as we get into the game. And this is roughly how we're going to track our progress throughout the game. Now this is our players in board. So we've got various different things here. So we have got, this is our chest. And within our chest we can hold up to 20 gold pieces. So that's our currency for the game. There's 16 tiles here that we can use to populate with items that we put within our inn, which are going to help us in the game. There's 2 spaces here for reserve tiles, so if we can't get them on our board or we want to save them for later, we can keep them there. There's 3 spaces here. Those are for what's called economic gossips, and so gossiping is going to be one of the things that helps us to gain prestige and work throughout the game. The next 3 are for political gossips, and the next 3 are for travellers' gossips. Now these 2 spaces are for our guests' impression changing spaces. Obviously we've got some positives and some negatives. This track is for our revenue and everyone starts on 4. And if we max out our revenue and get onto this part here, this just describes the bonus awarded for passing the maximum. These are signboards for the inn to give us different names and that kind of stuff. Most of the colours actually correspond to whatever we've got in these cards as well. And then finally, this is the track for all the different type of guests that we can have. So we can see distressed, outlaws, travellers, townsfolk and nobles. And depending on how well our inn caters for these different type of guests will depend on how quickly they travel up and down the track. The final bit of admin from that point of view is each of our players takes a colour and then puts them on the appropriate tracks. And then within easy reach we set out our currency, our gossip markers and all of our ingredients. As players progress up the reputation track, they will have to make certain special actions. So for example, there's one for simply receiving a gossip token. Other ones require you to roll a dice to get a certain result, which you can see here. So for example, that was a 5, which means you get 3 gold pieces. And then there's other ones that help you to continue throughout the game. Before we start, there's a drafting system to get our initial tiles, and they're going to give us various benefits, and we only choose one of them at the beginning of the game. But these might give us some extra coins, or it might help us on one of our tracks. At the start of each turn, players will get the opportunity to move some resources out of their chest and into their pouch. To do that, all they do is just move it off the board slightly. That is preparing that money for use this turn. Next up, players get the opportunity to change the general impression within their inn. So that means they can introduce or lose any of the different types of guests. So if I choose to change this, I can choose to lose reputation with the nobles or any other group that I want to, or if I wanted to gain reputation with perhaps a distressed, I'd place it on there. Now there's some numbers there, so there's a +1, so that means that if I place that distress there, I gain 1 reputation, and I make that change on my track. Then if I choose to lose reputation with the nobles, that is a -3. So I make that immediate change as well on the track. Now obviously I can't lose 3 here, so I just go as low as I can. If at any point any of our track goes onto the special action symbol, then we perform it immediately. Next up, we get to spend any gossip tokens that we have. So there's 3 different types. Green is for economic gossips, blue is for political, and red is for traveller. And each one of them performs a different result. So for example, the economic gossips earn you money, the political ones earn you reputation, and the traveller gossips allow you to change the inn tiles from a chosen track. The next thing we get to do is we get to spend any of our guldens on inn tiles. So these inn tiles will generally give a benefit to your inn. You can also move any reserve tiles into your inn as well. There are also different types of inn tiles. So for example, there are ones that can just introduce special guests. There are ones that can introduce workers. There are ones that can bring in ingredients. And there's 4 different colours indicated on those tiles. So for example, yellow is for furnishing for the inn. Brown is for services the inn offers. Blue is for workers. And red is for special guests. Now the tiles that we purchase are from the investment track, which is on our inn's prestige board. As we sell them, we immediately replace them on this track. So by upgrading our inn, we start to earn more points for our prestige track. We start to change our reputation. We start to earn better equipment and that kind of thing, which is going to move us forward and create a better inn, giving us a better chance of winning the game. We can also complete recipes for us to sell in our inn. All we need to do is purchase the ingredients, and then we get the positive effects. Ingredients are purchased via these tokens here. So basically within each turn, we are preparing money to spend in this turn. We are adjusting our reputation and making the special actions on the reputation track as a result. We are using any gossip that we earn in order to make special actions. We are investing in our inn and improving it. We are completing recipes. And we are increasing our prestige. If a player successfully has 16 tiles on their board, they may choose to end the game. If that is the case, any players who haven't gone that turn get to take their turn then. And then we refer to the prestige board. Any unspent guldens, gossip and ingredient tokens are converted into prestige points. Any unpaid debts and any uncompleted recipes reduce the prestige as well. Now when that player gets that 16th tile laid, they don't necessarily have to call for the end of the game. So for example, if they are red and they are here and yellow is here and they know that they can't earn enough prestige in the end game to catch up, they don't have to call for the end of the game. They can continue to play and try and improve their prestige. However, when the other player does get to 16, they can then activate the end of the game. If you choose not to proceed to the end of the game, when it is your turn, you can do the next time it comes back round to you. Okay, so that was Crossroads Inn. So we had a real blast with that one. So I've had the game for almost 2 weeks and we played through probably 8 or 9 times. So we played 2-player, me and my wife. We played 3-player with one of the kids as well. Very, very good stuff. So one of the things I didn't get to in the playthrough is that these things called kingdom cards. You play 2 of these per games and they're basically extra rewards to go for, but there's quite a lot of those cards available and they do change up the game every single time we play it. Now when you go through these inn tiles, there's a hell of a lot of them. Some real diversity within the game. So these inn tiles, there's probably well over 100 of these inn tiles. So There's a lot of different options, different ways for you to make up your inn. So very, very cool stuff. Now, thematically, I really enjoyed that reputation track that's on there. It's really cool. So you get 5 different demographics to go for, and you can change your reputation with each of them. And that in turn can work out what is going on in your inn, who you want to appeal to, and how that's going to affect that track. That's really cool as well. And even when you're losing reputation, you still get to make those special actions, which mostly have a good effect on your position. So all in all, Crossroads Inn is a firm favourite in my house. Very, very good stuff. We'll be playing it for years to come. We even played it with our 6-year-old now. All we did was we left out the recipe mechanic from the game and played the rest of it more or less in the full version. And she did actually get on with it quite well. But yeah, certainly a very, very good game. We all enjoyed it. It's important to mention that all of the parts, they're all prototype parts that you've seen in the playthrough and that kind of thing. So they're very good, and they're very much close to what I would expect in the full game. So that quite often with prototypes you get like overproduced versions and that kind of thing. That's not the case here. This is good quality board, you know, standard meeples and all that kind of thing. All in all, I really enjoyed this game. So although I got the prototype version, I'll be sure to back on Kickstarter as well. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. It's a really cool game, Crossroads Inn. Really enjoyed it. Certainly enjoyed it with the family, but obviously one for the game night as well. Good stuff. So on Kickstarter at the end of October, maybe even 28th, I believe. Well worth taking a look. Have a look on there. If you've got any questions about the game, pop them in the comments down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks very much. See ya.